My name's Rich Harrington for Understanding Adobe Photoshop, and today we're going to explore cool effects you could do with your text. Now, the easiest way to apply effects are to use layer effects or layer styles, and they're very versatile because they'll automatically update when you modify the text. Here's how they work. In this particular document here, you see we have the same word, text, with different layer styles. Let's go ahead and twirl this one down here and just toggle it off and on. And you see that we sort of have a wooden texture. Well, this texture is being created by 3 layer effects working in combination. Let's turn them off. First off, we have a pattern overlay. And if I double click that, we see that we're using this sort of wooden pattern here. You can load more up if you want, and you just find them in the little flyout menu. And you have all these different sort of hard textures that you can use. Or you can actually click and choose things like rock or nature patterns and select any of those as well. I'm going to hit cancel for a second. Next, we applied a bevel. And the bevel allows you to create an edge that makes this look embossed or repressed. You can choose up and down to change the direction and set the depth and choose a style from a hard chiseled edge to a more soft pillowy emboss. You got lots of options here to choose from, and of course, the ever-present drop shadow to help lift something off the page. Now, there's a lot to layer styles, as you see here, because we have everything that looks from metallic to liquid gel to sort of a stroked brushed metal look, and that's just how flexible these are. There's so much you can do. Let's go ahead and switch over here to just a blank letter, and we'll roll one from scratch. I'm going to click the letter T here and start off and just apply my first effect, drop shadow. Now, you can add a drop shadow to text, but you can't have a drop shadow and an outer glow. A drop shadow is caused by having a light in front of the text casting a shadow behind it, while an outer glow is a light coming from behind. So choose one or the other, but not both. You can go ahead and click and drag to put that where you want and actually just soften that up a bit. We'll do some size. That looks okay. Inner shadow is going to create a bit of a shadow on the inside if you wanted to make something look like it was knocked out. So instead of a drop shadow, you can use an inner shadow to make it look like you've punched a hole in the paper. Of course, you have that outer glow we talked about before, and just play with the mode and the color as you see fit. Sometimes I'll sample this actual image here and use the color of the image itself to create the glow, like so. If you need to, you can do an inner glow, and that'll just create a little highlight on the inside, and the very flexible bevel and emboss. Now, there's lots of styles to choose from, and you're going to want to find the one that works. One of the more popular options is actually apply a stroke and set a size for that stroke. I'll set that to center. And then under bevel and emboss, you could choose to actually do a stroke emboss, which is only going to emboss the stroke around the text. That creates a nice effect here. If you don't want to do that, just choose one of the more traditional ones. We'll do a regular inner bevel at this point and adjust the depth and the size. Down here is an important control for the gloss. So this is essentially the beveled edge from the side. And if you play with that, you're changing the shape of the bevel and the highlight. So you can get some pretty cool effects there just by trying to round that out or playing with the edge. Same holds true down here with contour, which is the actual edge of the bevel. So let's go with a nice thick bevel here, really deep, and we'll come down to contour and change its shape as well. And notice that we can get ripples and edges and all sorts of shapes like a sawtooth or a nice gentle rounded edge or a thick lip. And you can change this yourself by just clicking on it and modifying these as you see fit. And this actually creates a pretty cool look to the bevel. And it'll update there for you. Satin is going to lay a nice texture on top, and you typically want to play with that to get a little displacement and adjust the opacity down. But what that does is takes it from being pretty flat to looking more like a liquid or a plastic surface. If you want to toss a color in there, you can. Just recommend you change it to hue or color mode to tint the image, or any of these other options are fine too. That'll actually remap the color on top of what's below, or set it to normal to just permanently change the color to exactly what you've chosen. If you want to, you could toss on a gradient, and I often find that you can use these together. Notice that the color is on top of the gradient, so if you want to blend those two together, turn the gradient on, then in the color area, try one of the modes like overlay or soft light, or maybe just a simple color, and it'll remap it. Remember, these are all flexible, and you can often just click right inside to drag and reposition as you see fit. If you want to, you could play with scale and get some pretty cool effects to your text. There's pattern overlays that you can introduce, and these all work together, so you got to be careful what you choose, oftentimes needing to use a blending mode to really pull it off. But that looks pretty good. I've got a nice sort of liquid effect there. I'll go ahead and click OK, and I'm happy with that. And if I want, I could even load up more effects. So just click the little sub-menu here, and you could go ahead and we'll replace the styles that are loaded. I'll say Don't Save. And I'll navigate out to some styles I have here called UAP Styles. Click Open, and they're added in. And now I've got a whole bunch of styles to choose from. Let's just pull this out and make it a little bigger. And you see we can step through and try them out. All sorts of options, including a nice sort of knocked out look, ability to do sort of a hollow text or a see-through, metallics, overlays. And you see here lots of things to choose from. So it works really well to come up with all sorts of combinations. And you can just quickly apply those to your text with a simple click. Remember, if you want to try more, just click the flyout menu, and there's other categories to choose from. And you could try some of those out as well. Now, that's layer styles, a great way to affect text, and you can also use that same technology on shapes, buttons, DVD menus, or even photographs with the right combinations. For Understanding Adobe Photoshop, my name's Rich Harrington.